Laker fans, welcome to another preview video. We're going to get to the Milwaukee part here in a second, but first, let's talk about the big win over Denver. I know Jokic and Murray weren't there, but still, a lot of good players on that team. Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon had a big night. Christian Brown, who decimated the Lakers the week before. And honestly, it doesn't matter. They got a victory over the Lakers with 4 starters out, 2 meaningful bench players out, and the Lakers were able to get one back on them. And the most important thing about this is that in the race for the number 2 seed, where you're going to have the ability to maybe not face Oklahoma City in the second round and let one of these teams that maybe one of the other co-favorites, just like a Denver, play Oklahoma City in the second round, you avoid them if you're able to get the number 2 seed. So now with all those tiebreakers between Houston, Memphis, Denver, and the Lakers are now 2-2 on the regular season against Denver. They won't see them again unless they play in the postseason, which is big. And there's a lot of tiebreakers kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of it. But right now, the Lakers would have that if they finish with the same record. Memphis, the Lakers are currently up 2-1 on the season series. There's one more game left there. And then Houston is up 1-0. They beat the Lakers a few months ago. A totally different team. Luka was not on the team. And but there's 2 games left there. So they'll play kind of towards the end of this month in the next week and a half. And then to almost at one of the last games of the season. So big win. I know they didn't have anyone, but the shooters were all over the place. I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith, Gabe Vincent, and Dalton Knecht combined to make 10 threes on 17 attempts. Luka had 31, unbelievable, and Reeves doing his part with 22. So solid win, solid W. Quick turnaround to the Bucks now. Just came down. Luka Doncic is not going to be playing due to kind of injury management, which makes sense. The amount of games that the Lakers have been playing the last week, and the fact that this is also an Eastern Conference opponent, so you don't really have to worry about that tiebreaker. If you were to lose a game, you'd rather it be to an Eastern Conference foe versus someone in the West like a Denver. But the Lakers are going to have to adjust. The spread before this was 3.5 favored Milwaukee. I'm sure that'll probably go up to 7, 8 now with everyone out. But still, this Laker team could take them down. I mean, the way Austin Reeves has been playing, they're going to have to play like they did against Denver in the game last week, where they were really shorthanded, and connecting him put on a show. The one thing that'll be different in this game, positive for the Lakers, minus Luka Doncic, obviously. He had 45 in the last game, 45 and 11 rebounds. So you're going to be missing that. In the last game they played against the Bucks last week, Reeves and Luka combined for 73. The rest of the team had 33. It's a really bad shooting night for the whole team. That cannot happen if they want to be in this game. Obviously, with Luka out and LeBron out, Rui out, you're going to need Reeves to go off. Vincent's got to participate. Knecht's got to get back into it. The whole team's really got to have kind of a fundamental change. The one thing that they will have back, because last week they got decimated in terms of size. Brook Lopez had 23 points. Giannis had 24. You can tell the game plan from Doc Rivers, which was smart because Jackson Hayes was out. Just play both bigs at the same time, and the Lakers had no one to guard them. And they were either getting to the free throw line half the time or they were scoring. Kevin Porter Jr. off the bench had 22, and Dame had 22. So very team-oriented victory. They didn't have any size, but Jackson Hayes will be playing in this game, so that is big. It does give Reeves a little bit of a lob threat and the ability to match up there. Giannis is going to get his. Brook Lopez is going to get his, but at the same time, you do have a big that has the ability, just size-wise, to match up and rebound. It'll be interesting to see what happens when the next game, the game they played against Denver the next night, the Lakers kind of found something against Jokic. And Jokic and Giannis are very different bigs. Giannis is more of a drive to the hole, get fouled, or get a tough layup, where Jokic is more, finesse, passing, excellent shooter, things like that. The Lakers kind of found something in that Jared Vanderbilt, Dorian Finney-Smith being really pesky on defense, kind of just on their hip the entire time, knocking balls away before they even get there, fronting them a lot of the time, making them kind of throw in contested passes down low. I wonder if they kind of deploy that when Jackson Hayes is out, or if he gets into foul trouble, because I wouldn't be surprised if Doc Rivers tries to stagger Brook Lopez and Giannis a little bit. If you run Giannis out there against Hayes and you bring Lopez in the minutes that Hayes is out, to try to kind of have a big, because otherwise then the Lakers are going to have to go to the kind of small ball Vanderbilt, one of these guys, or you're going to have to throw a Koloko or a Len in there. And Len has not deserved time so far. He has not, been very good at all, just to be frank. And Koloko's been decent, but he's not really quite a big. He's more of a 4. So we'll see what they do there. Everyone's got to show up. they're going to have to shoot the way they did last night, almost 70 points in the first half. Goodwin's got to be there. Reeves has got to do his thing. As I mentioned, Finney Smith, Gabe Vincent, Connect, all these guys got to be contributing. And then you're going to need Vanderbilt, to score a little bit as well. Going to be a tough matchup, but I understand them doing it because having Luka out, again, because of the Eastern Conference kind of foe, a loss to Denver would be worse than a loss to Milwaukee. And the last thing you want is Luka to get hurt because that changes the entire outlook of the season. Looking at the Bucks specifically, on the injury report, Giannis and Dame are both probable. Gary Trent Jr., who comes off the bench, is also probable. The two guys are out. Bobby Portis is still serving a suspension, so he will not be playing in this game. And Jericho Sims, who played last week, a young center out of Texas, he's out with a torn ligament in his thumb. So that does lack a little bit of size there. They don't have the backup center, which is why I wouldn't be surprised if they stagger Giannis and Brook Lopez a little bit, but we'll see. Their last couple games, they lost to the Warriors. Really odd game. They didn't have Steph Curry in that game, and they beat them by 104-93. Really bad performance by them. This actually led to being reported Doc Rivers had like a quote open forum with Dame and Giannis to kind of discuss the recent struggles, because the game before that, they lost to Oklahoma City. Before that, they beat Indiana, and then they beat the Lakers, who were very shorthanded last week. So the Bucks are kind of a tough team to get a read on a little bit. You feel like they should be a lot better than they are. They're the 5th seed in the East, and they're not in that category with Boston and the Cavs. They're really, it feels like a cut above everyone in the Eastern Conference. And then you probably look at the Knicks. If they're healthy, could maybe give someone a run for their money. They're kind of in that grouping with Indiana in themselves. I don't know that I necessarily want to see Giannis and Dame, and I like the Kuzma addition, kind of replacing him. He's just a younger Chris Middleton. I don't think I'd really want to see him in Eastern Conference playoffs, but at the same time, they haven't really been consistent. So there are definitely some problems there, and I think the lack of bench plays into that. They only played 8 guys the other night against the Warriors. Starting lineup, as usual, Giannis, Kuzma, Brook Lopez, Dame, Taurean Prince. So a lot of former Lakers on there with Kuzma, Lopez, and Prince. And then off the bench, they keep it pretty tight. It's Gary Trent Jr., Kevin Porter Jr., who, as I mentioned, had a big game against the Lakers, and A.J. Green, who's a young guard as well. Pat Connaughton kind of fell out of the lineup. Some of the old kind of players who used to kind of be playing a lot for the Bucks are not quite there. So pretty short rotation for Doc Rivers. Lakers going to need it all tonight. Need to be a damn near perfect game. It's great that it's in Los Angeles. Hopefully the crowd, well, we know the crowd's going to get behind it, but can help them out a little bit, because Reeves is going to have the game of his life like he did against Denver, and they're going to have to be hitting threes from a good clip, because we know that they're going to score inside. The Bucks are a tough matchup anyway against the Lakers, and especially with Rui and LeBron out, but hopefully Jackson Hayes can offset that a little bit. But appreciate everybody for tuning in. Alan will get you guys on the post-game show. And as always, hopefully we're talking about a Laker W. So appreciate you tuning in, and go Lakers.